Hi there. There's our chair.
So it's 3 o'clock. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Koviak, and I welcome you all to our Traffic Safety Committee, the University Area Traffic Safety Committee team. So we can start with introductions for those of you that weren't here when we met in April. So hard to believe it's already May, and I know the semesters are wrapping up and a busy time. So appreciate all of you taking time out of your day. Melissa, did you want to say anything before we get started as well?
Sure. So hi everybody, I'm Melissa with JMT. I assist Mike Zen and Kathleen with handling this meeting. Just to let you know, the meeting will be recorded. And I think that's it for me. Mike, do you have anything that you would like to mention?
Yeah, it's great to see everybody here. And just so you know, there's a few people that are on here today that were invited after we had our inaugural meeting or our kickoff meeting. This is actually the inaugural meeting. And some of the people you see meet here today are just some more of the support to the CTST teams. So as we expand and keep going, their knowledge from their walks will be very valuable to us in the future here. It's all yours.
Oh, and then, sorry, one more thing. Just to let everybody know, I have the closed captions on. And then if you're not speaking, just make sure you mute yourself so that if everybody else is speaking, there's no strange feedback. Okay, that's it.
Thank you both. So for those of you that I didn't meet during our kickoff, my name is Kathleen Koviak, and I work at the University of South Florida within our Center for Student Wellbeing office and oversee our alcohol and other drug prevention initiatives. So appreciate the honor of being named chair of this committee. I'm excited to be working with you all in this capacity and the opportunity to get to know each of you as well. So we can get started with introductions, especially for those of you that weren't with us last time. And first I can turn it over to Monty, who's our co-chair.
Hi, I'm Monty Wirtz, and I'm in Operations and Planning here at the University of Tampa, and I am excited for our inaugural meeting. Do you want me to tap someone to go next?
Yeah, we can do that way.
All right, I'm going to tap Katie Godwin.
Hello, everyone. Shocking, I didn't anticipate that one. I'm Katie Godwin. I'm also at the University of Tampa in Operations and Planning. So Monty and I support ourselves. And then I saw our other UT friend, Gabe. If you want to introduce yourself, we can round robin it.
Yeah, hello, my name is Gabe. I'm from University of Tampa also. I work as an academic program specialist with student accessibility services.
I think you get to be a lucky friend.
I'll jump in. I'm Joe Pentrovato, Dean of Student Services at HCC's Del Mabry campus. I oversee all student services, our tennis center, athletics program, and Fox Landing apartment complex. I don't know who should go next. I don't know who whoever's next.
I'll jump in. I'll introduce myself. I am one of those first newcomers. My name is George Edmiston. I'm with Finish Engineering. I'm a safety prime consultant for District 7. So I work with Mike and Peter, and as well as Lori and Melissa and other CTST capacities. My background is I retired at 30 years in law enforcement, and I do various safety projects for the district. So I'm excited to be part of this. I'm glad to see this group's together. I think you're going to think it's a very valuable group, and we're going to learn a lot from each other on this.
I'll jump in next after George. Similar but different roles. I'm Janine Lawrence. I'm with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and I do prevention, education, and outreach in the community, specifically impaired driving, underage drinking, and drug use. So I'm really happy to be part of this team. I'm glad that it was formed. As soon as I heard about it, I requested to be invited into the meeting. So happy to be here and see many familiar faces.
Hello, everyone. I guess I'll go next. My name is Lori. I work for JMT. I do traffic engineering, and me and Melissa, we assist each other on the meeting minutes for this meeting.
My name is Joanne Weber. I work at the University of South Florida at the Center of Urban Transportation Research. I'm a training support specialist here.
Hello everyone, I'm Brandon Drawhorn, and I'm a safety engineering technician for District 7 in DOT. And I'll just be shadowing Mike's in.
All right. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Yu Zhang. I'm a professor in the University of South Florida, leading the transition group in the civil engineering. I'm also a faculty affiliated with the Qatar. And my lab, one area is the shared mobility, including the shared micromobility, which have some unique safety problems or safety issues. And I'm closely working with USF, student awareness, as well as the City of Tampa, City of St. Pete on the shared micromobility programs. So I'm glad to be here. This is the second meeting, and I look forward to the discussion.
Okay, great. Was there anyone else that we missed that maybe called in? Oh, okay. I think that's it, everyone.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. So the first item of business is just to review the minutes from our April meeting. Thank you, Melissa, for pulling those up. So if you hadn't had a chance to take a look at those yet, and you can see it on your screen, feel free to just go through those for a minute or two. And if there's anything that you remember discussing that isn't indicated or isn't documented correctly, please feel free to speak up. Otherwise, if everything looks good, then we can motion to approve those.
Can anybody start a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve them as read.
I'll second, if that's necessary.
Yes.
All right, so those minutes are approved. Thank you both. All right, next on the list, some business updates. I know in the April meeting we talked about some certain problem areas and we're identifying areas that were problematic. So wanted to follow up on that. If anybody has comments related to that topic.
All right. Let me try to clarify that a little. Problem identifications and follow-ups. Since it's our inaugural meeting, we haven't had any problem identification specified as at this moment. And I know, like with Joseph out there at HCC, they do have problems of trying to get students to mobility reasons to get in and around the campus, especially around Tampa Bay and Himes and all that. So those are kind of like problems we would bring up, and then we would create a tracking chart for those to see how we, go to the city of Tampa and so on and so forth to try to get some help and see what we can do to solve that issue. So that's kind of how it works with the other CTSTs on our problem identifications. And so I know you guys all have problems around your campuses. I just use Joe because I remember when we were out there with the safety fair, quite a few people mentioned that to me last fall.
Well, we can throw out an area, North Boulevard, here at the university. And actually, we have Tampa Preparatory School, which is a private middle and high school on one end. And then we have Blake High School actually past that. But this area on North Boulevard, a lot of it has to do with our construction, but the rest of it has to do with some other school-related traffic. Gets really congested, which makes traveling on that span, so between basically Kennedy Boulevard and really almost all the way down to Cypress, traveling on North Boulevard can be very frustrating. And it unfortunately puts our students in the position where sometimes they're playing Frogger because the lights are, I don't know that the light schedule has kept up with the student schedule and with the timing of those things. And we're getting ready to go in the summer. So some of this is going to be alleviated simply by the smaller number of students that are on campus. But I think it's, if we're looking at projects to look at safety wise and traffic flow, that would be a decent one to throw into the hopper.
And Monty, just to give you an understanding, it's great to bring that up. And it's good to go ahead and mention that summer's coming at us and the traffic patterns are not going to be an issue for the duration of summer. But when the fall comes around, maybe we can get some idea to have somebody come out and check the timing signals. So what we've done in the other CTSTs, and Melissa's very good at it, we provide what we call a tracking chart. It'll become part of our package every month when we meet so that we don't lose track of what we just brought up today, so that we can keep going on it. And I can show you, I don't know if we showed you in the other meeting, some of these problem locations might stay on there a year before they finally get resolved, but it's mentioned at least once a month so we don't lose track of it.
That's a great strategy. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we had to learn the hard way over the years, but because things would get mentioned a month later, that person that brought it up didn't show up to that meeting for some reason. Then 2 months went by and it's totally forgotten again. So.
Yeah, I
that's
agree with Monty, because do you think of Cass Avenue, which is our other entrance into the university, which across the street is Tampa Prep School. We get a lot of students that are walking on that street because we have a resident hall that's at the Barrymore Hotel. So they're coming that way. So if you go over the bridge towards Barrymore, there is a crosswalk, which is way down there. But then once they get over towards the entrance for off of Cass, the next crosswalk is the next light. So I think somewhere after that bridge should be the type of a pedestrian crosswalk.
Like a
where
mid-block.
They need
like
to
a-
cross right there. They could press the button where traffic can be stopped.
And just so the understanding of this, I have the ability to bring in people from the city of Tampa because they do sit on the Hillsborough County CTST. So it might be good once in a great while when you have some of these city streets that you guys have, like around, all three of you actually have city streets around some of your campuses. So, we could bring in William Forth or somebody else from there to come in and kind of give us an overview of what some of after he reviews the issues. Then we can have him step in on this meeting and give us his opinion, what he can do and can't do in the short term and the long term.
Right, great.
So Melissa, you got 3 of them already.
I have 2 written down. I have,
Oh.
make sure I don't forget one. Okay, so I have the North Boulevard, congestion between Kennedy and Cypress, might be a timing issue, so I'm gonna add that you guys are gonna check out that in the fall when school starts back up. And then I have Gabe's item for Cass Street. Needs some sort of a safe way for kids to cross rather than having to go all the way down by the bridge and come back. And I know, Mike, you mentioned a mid-block crosswalk, so.
Yeah, that was the one on Cass Street. That's what it's. And Joseph, I didn't know if you agreed with that one I mentioned somewhere in your area over there. I just only, it was vague what I was getting from the kids when we were doing the safety fair out at your campus.
Well, yes, so we're, the biggest intersection with us is, near us is Tampa Bay and Dale Mabry.
Yeah.
And there's lights there and crosswalks and such. But an area that our students have addressed with us here at the campus is actually on Lois. We have Hawks Landing. It's a student apartments right across the street from us, from the campus, right across Lois. And there's constantly, and I don't know if this fits into the the spirit of this this committee, but because this is kind of a very specific area for a crosswalk, but students routinely cross Lois from Hawks Landing over to campus, and there's no kind of crosswalk or anything there. And just west of there is a circle at Lois and Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no crosswalk there. So that's one area as far as around the Dale Mabry campus that has been brought up over the years, is having a crosswalk for students and staff and faculty, well, not faculty so much, but students and staff to go across the street with the crosswalk, the button you can press, so they can cross and cars will slow down.
Yep.
Yeah, but the Himes and the Dale Mabry and Tampa Bay, it's a lot of activity, but I think it's well equipped with.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
But very good. That is an issue. I know City of Tampa is doing what they call Vision Zero somewhere in that area, over there in that Drew Park area. So, we could, even the Vision Zero person that oversees a lot of that does participate occasionally at the Hillsborough CTST. So that would be a question we could bring up to them as well. Right? Is that an area that's being studied under the Vision Zero project? What they call the complete streets. So, I'm sure, but, if we don't put it on our chart to ask, you don't ask, you'll never know.
Right. Yeah. 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 I think that's our main concern.
Yeah.
Because there's 400 students there. So,
sure.
all more, they're coming across the street to the campus routinely, so that would be ideal.
Great. Kathleen, that's how we come up with a problem sheet. And it'll grow and it'll shrink and it'll grow, it'll shrink, but I've got one team, I think we're up to 5 or 6 sheets, so.
That's wild. Hey, Joseph, can I ask you one thing real quick?
Yeah.
When I was just taking notes and then you mentioned there's a circle, but still no crosswalk for the students to cross. Do you mean a roundabout or do you mean like just like a?
Roundabout, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure for the notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's normal to, I don't know if you can put a crosswalk at a roundabout. That might be some level of mayhem, but at least a little further down from it, that's right in front of Hawks Landing, connecting to across the street to the campus. But if it had to be at that roundabout, that's nothing. I mean, at least that's a dedicated crosswalk. They wouldn't have to walk far from Hawks Landing down the sidewalk to the crosswalk at the roundabout. That's not that big a deal. But if it could be right in front of Hawks Landing, of course, and I think there's a bus stop there too, right in front of Hawks Landing. Just
Okay, great. Thank you.
cool.
I think that's what you got, Kathleen.
All right, thank you, everybody. And yeah, as those problems pop up or you hear from colleagues on your campuses about incidents and things that we can address, please continue to bring those to our attention. So now we've got some calendar updates, activity reports. So first, I don't know if we have any law enforcement members here, but if there's any law enforcement activity going on.
I don't see anybody online from any of the campus law enforcement.
Yeah, there's nobody here, but I will tell you that I can be the facilitator for all the needs, different universities. I work closely with the Tampa Police Department, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant King over at USF, Florida Highway Patrol, every agency in Hillsborough County and throughout the district. I have points of contact for all those agencies. So if there is a particular issue that gets addressed in this forum, obviously I can take that issue back to them, also invite them to this meeting, and we can have a discussion to make sure that your problems are addressed. So I offer that as one of the services I do for the district.
And Joseph, I know you've got campuses in other parts of the county, like Plant City. Plant City Police Department is one of them that we work closely with. So, so if you hear of issues from any of the other campuses, that's out there as well. I think between George and the district and our office here, we handle almost 30 different agencies that work closely with us. So,
Good to know.
including the airport police. If you got a problem at the airport, we notified.
Except for lost baggage.
They're
Yeah.
right next door to us here. Yeah, we have, of course, Plain City campus, South Shore, Brandon, and Ybor City. So yeah, we're spread out across the district. So I'll keep my ears open.
Good, thanks. The fatality reports, I mean, I know we're jumping guns here, but I've asked Lori and another gentleman here to start providing a fatality map in the vicinity of your campus, including your campuses. I don't necessarily get crash reports on the campus properties. Some of them we do and some we don't, but we're just going to draw like a circle around your campuses, and you'll have the ability to see what's going on the local streets just outside your campus grounds, because I'm sure some of those are your students that are having issues out on the regular streets. Anyway, I didn't mean to take that out for you.
Not at all. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that'd be very useful information for us to have. And then any other information on bicycle pedestrian reports?
Those again, since this is new, I think you're going to find that comes either from your law enforcement or your student advisory boards where people are complaining about bike problems or scooter problems, you know. I don't know what you guys call your different agencies, but if you have, you know, somebody stealing a lot of bicycles in a particular location, that's probably something we probably ought to have both involved, bike ped problems as well as law enforcement. If or people are running an intersection, a particular intersection, and not paying attention to the crosswalks, again, it becomes a law enforcement issue, but it's something that would probably come under our bike ped. Now, I do, here at the district office, we do have what we call a bike ped coordinator. And as this meeting gets a little more mature, you know, I'll have that person come in and sit on the meetings and give you daily updates, what the state's doing and what the locals are trying to do in your county on the bike ped coordinations. But I think this is a little early to bring them in, because we haven't, this is just still new. We haven't matured yet.
I think I mentioned this at the first meeting. There's something with the scooters. It's becoming very problematic because
Yes, you did.
University of Tampa, we don't allow them on the campus. So students would take the scooters and they just drop them right off, right at the entrance of both of our entrances on the campus, which kind of blocks pedestrian walking through. So let's just say you have a person with disability or wheelchair, or just any other student that might have to step out into the street just to go around those
Correct.
scooters, that creates some dangers. So we don't know who's can be responsible for moving those scooters. You know?
And I did bubble that up to one of the people that in the city of Tampa that oversees some of those contracts, and he hasn't gotten back with me yet, Gabe. So the scooter issue is getting to be a problem everywhere. It's not just in your Tampa area, but I don't know how USF has got them on their campus and if they're messing with them and what their solutions is. But by having all three campuses here, that's what we can do, is share what one's doing to solve a problem.
So USF is on a discussion among different related offices and departments with the city of Tampa on what are we going to do for the upcoming comprehensive shared micromobility program in the city of Tampa. I think, according to our previous meeting, we had some ideas about, there could be different options. We are aware that University of Tampa actually banned the usage of the e-scooters on campus. But comparably, USF is a much larger campus and they have more kind of demands for that type of shared micromobility. But we come up with some ideas about, one is if we still will discuss more and no decisions have been made it. But in our proposition, we mentioned different options. And one is that we will not allow the standing scooters, but more of sitting down scooter and also the e-bikes with the seats. And also we want to make it as a station-based, which means we will have designated virtual parking locations. Do not need a kiosk, do not need the bicycle racks, but it has a designated area with the marks on the ground showing that this is a parking area for the shared micromobility. And then also, according to the micromobility engineer of the city of Tampa, actually in the contract between the city and operators, there's some requirements about how the operators need to respond to illegal parking. So they have better kind of the GPS technology now, and they can have higher resolution of detecting the locations of the micro vehicles. So and they also have the self alarming system. So if any of the shared micro vehicles parked in non-designated area or did illegal parking, then operator will be notified. And according to the contract, they have to resolve the problem within 2 hours to relocate, collect and relocate those illegal parked micro vehicles to the designated areas. So those are in the contract. So by saying that, we still have more discussion on USF to see what kind of options we're going to choose. Are we going to allow it on campus? And then we will, if that's the case, then the facility planning office will work with other offices to identify the designated locations where with a specific area of parking. If not, then we will consider, on the edge of the campus where those micro vehicles can be parked. So we're looking into that. And if there are any updates, I will share with this group.
That's great news. I mean,
I think Arizona State University has something like that. Because I used to live in Arizona, and they had sections around the campus where the scooter will not work. You literally will have to get off and walk it through the safety area, and then it will move again. And that kind of prevent people from leaving scooters at certain spots that could be a danger.
Yes. So for the pilot program of the shared e-scooters in the city of Tampa, actually they defined the no rider zones. So actually my team helped the city of Tampa did the evaluation, performance evaluation of the program. And we find, some illegal parking issues, and also find out that the speed control entering into the non-rider zones was not perfect. So that's what kind of the recommendations that we passed from the city of Tampa to the operator, so that the operator can improve their GPS system, can improve their the no rider zone speed control strategies, and then can improve the performance of the program. So I think the pilot program, helped the city and also the operators learn a lot. And then for the upcoming citywide shared market program, I think we will see the improvements. Yeah.
how many contractors does the city use? Do you know?
I believe 4. Actually, I have, let me see. I did a presentation to the St. Petersburg Micromobility Subcommittee, and I actually showed them the different operators and different types of the micro vehicles would be offered by the operators. So we will see more, e-bikes, and also we will see the multi-user, multi-rider vehicles. So now, previously for the standing one, if there's one adult and let one kid stand in front of it, that's kind of abuse of the program. But now they do have those multiple rider vehicle, so the kids actually could be sit together with the adults. And also, each operators are required to provide at least 1% of the fleet as adaptive micro vehicles for the disabilities. Yeah, so there are more kind of sought for terms included in the bidding document. Yeah, let me find it and I will share with you about operators.
Appreciate those updates. Well, she looks for that. Any other thoughts or information from your campuses about scooters or bicycles or pedestrian safety?
Not at HCC, we're just dealing with the same kind of thing. They're approaching on the campus with everything electric. Work with the kids. I mean, it's what they're using. Adults, whatever. It's what they're using nowadays, and we haven't really formally discussed it, but we're all aware that there's an increase in these vehicles, and our campus is big, so we're seeing a lot of that here at John Mabry, but nothing to the point where we're looking at altering policies or procedures, at least not yet.
Okay, so I find this the program is all users and all abilities, and there'll be a Lime and a Spin. They provide single rider vehicles, and then Hopper, they will provide the e-bikes. There are two seats, and also with a cargo capacity. And then Razor will provide the seated e-scooters. And then all of them will provide, adaptive vehicles. So basically Lime, Spin, Hopper, and Razor, 4 operators. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't seen those before, so I think that would be interesting. Do you know if would they be allowed to be used? Is there a specific radius within the campus that they'd be accessible?
Okay, let me. That's what I mentioned. Actually, we are under the discussion. So we haven't decided if we will allow the fully access of those different micro vehicles on the campus yet. But at least for now, the standing e-scooters was not favored by the administrative staff. So we talked about having the seated one, like a Razor, like the e-bikes, and probably we will not allow also the multiple riders. So we will be selective on what micro vehicles will be allowed on USF. And then we will determine if it's a fully access with the designated parking. So all the micro vehicles will have to be borrowed and returned back to certain location. We will not do the fully free-floating or dockless system this time to avoid the illegal parking, to avoid the blocking of the walkways, etc., etc. Yeah. And for the city of Tampa, actually divided into 15 zones. So the new Tampa area plus the USF would be one zone. And then in downtown area, they were divided into smaller zones. So the operators are required to deploy a certain amount of micro vehicles in each zone. And then they do the rebalancing in the zone. Yeah.
Thank you for those updates. I appreciate that, and interested to hear future discussions on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else before we move on to, I think we already went over the fatal crash maps. Michael talked about that. And then the last thing we have for today is just any announcements that anybody has to share, or anything else that wasn't on this list that anybody wants to bring up for conversation.
I was going to ask if it was all right, specifically Melissa and Michael, but if there's others that want to chime in, please feel free. We have our annual emergency operations team meeting at the beginning of June every year, and I'm sure you all do something similar to that. Kind of give our emergency operations team some training, kind of bring them up on current events, of course, talk about hurricanes. And we were considering putting in some traffic or pedestrian bike I like the micro vehicle language information into that meeting, simply because it's becoming, to Gabe's point, it's really becoming kind of a critical mass here on campus. We have off-campus residence hall we've used for years. We also now have a private residence hall that's being utilized by students pretty significantly, and we think it's only going to get greater with the west side of the Riverwalk now going to conjoin our campus in a more permanent way, as well as some other off-campus projects, residential projects that are going up that are particularly targeting our students. So I'm saying all that to say, is there any suggestions that you all would have about materials or information or tips that we could share with our emergency operations team members so that they could go back into our community and share those with their areas, whether it be students, staff, or faculty?
I can give you an idea what I just did one. We went down the MacDill Air Force Base and we did a emergency operation combination safety show out there. And they had a lot of other vendors out there. And when I say vendors, contractors, whether it was TICO, everybody had their own little tents. The Hillsborough County Fire Department, the City of Tampa Fire and Rescue, everybody had their own little tents with their own little piece of information on emergency operations services. And of course, we were there to participate because we monitor all the roads and we try to get our roads open if we have an emergency as quickly as possible so that other emergency crews could come in and continue to work. Because you don't want to hear, well, Tampa Electric, well, we can't get to you because DOT didn't open the road, So we're the first line, everybody wants that road open so they can get in there. So we do have a very comprehensive emergency office here at District 7. And we have employees that sit at each one of the EOC centers during an activation, whether it's in Pinellas County or Pasco, Hernando, or Citrus, that's our areas, of course, Hillsborough. So we all go get stationed of individuals from the EOC, and I happen to be one of them. And I get stationed in Hernando County because that's where I live. But so when we have an activation, I sit up there and we command from that emergency operations center where to send our vehicles and what we need to do. We have a priority list, of course, to do that. Now, to answer your question, Monty, we can certainly supply you with some information, the 511 system, as far as DOT is concerned, and, the ride on the shoulders on evacuation routes. But with the micromobility, I'll be honest with you, it's new to us. So we haven't really addressed those issues and we're not hearing of it until recently. The city of Tampa with all their little scooters that are parked everywhere. And now I'm hearing it from the colleges. So it seems like it's becoming like you said, it's an issue it's snowballing. It needs to be addressed before we get into some serious problems with it. And I don't know if the contractors, I know with the DOT, when we build roads and stuff out there, and when we have an activation, the contractors are responsible for dropping the cranes down, removing all the barrels and cones and everything else. So that kind of stuff's not flying around. So I don't know if the contractor would basically have the same responsibility of going around and scooping up all their scooters and locking them up somewhere. That might be another question to check when you're working with the contract, like the young lady a minute ago, she was saying, the things that they're looking at contract-wise with these companies. You're muted. You're still on mute.
How long have we been doing this and I'm still on mute? Sorry. That all sounds wonderful. I'd like to maybe follow up with you after the meeting, tomorrow,
Sure.
Maybe, and get some more information. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. George, you got your hand up.
So I just want to kind of piggyback on your conversation, Mike, and discuss some of the bigger issues we're having law enforcement wise for reporting of those micro-mobility scooter crashes is they don't fall under a uniform crash report. So the tracking of those are extremely difficult. The city of St. Petersburg has had fatalities, and tracking those is basically done through incident reports. And we do the same thing through Tampa Police Department and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. But we probably need to have a long discussion just on micro mobility, especially if everybody's planning on new policies, manuals. I will tell you, Florida state statutes usually typically take 6 months to a year to catch up to devices as they come out. So devices will hit the streets, and the definitions under Florida statute don't fall until 6 months to a year. So even the police officers have a lot of questions pertaining to those devices. So it'd be a good conversation at a different meeting, a different time as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when we were doing the performance evaluation for the city of Tampa and the city of St. Pete, the challenge that we faced is that, in the policeman crash reports, there's no specific category for the shared micro mobility micro vehicles. So what we did was, we tried to get whatever we can from the policeman department. And also we collect the information from the local hospital, like a Tampa General Hospital or a Bayfront Hospital, where they record, the injuries or related to like e-scooters. But another problem is that those e-scooters may be e-scooters owned by a person or e-scooters in the shared micromobility program. There's no way to distinguish them. So yes, it's challenging to obtain the safety related data with the current system. So I mean, with this group, if we can push forward to refine our crash reporting system somehow, given that shared micromobility emerges into the market anyway, and we have to do we need to do a better job. So probably that could be one huge contribution of this team if we can push something in better data collection. That would be great.
Let me ask you a question. You work for Cutter, correct?
I'm affiliated with Cutter, and my tenure is in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering.
Okay. Is it something that because I work with the university contract, and I use Cutter quite extensively for the research projects. Do you think this is a type of project that I could get Dr. Lin or somebody to work with us on?
For the safety, yeah, of course. In our performance evaluation, we look into the safety issue, but for more detailed, it's possibly could be a collaborative project between Dr. Lin's group. Actually, Jason Jackman in Dr. Lin's group is on my team, working together for the city of Tampa and city of St. Pete.
Okay.
So we collect whatever safety related data that we could, but whenever we talk to the city of Tampa, whenever we talk to the city of St. Pete, we mention, please, if it's possible to work with the police department to see if they can help on collecting or recording the crashes with additional information so that we can distinguish this is more shared e-scooter related. But I agree, it could be a project that help improve the safety data collection for the shared micromobility.
Well, if we get down to that point, and it could be any day or any time or any month, I mean, all we need to do is just let me know, and I'll see what we can do with Dr. Lin on my end with my contract that I have with the university over there.
Yes, I will talk to Dr. Lin. Maybe we can come up with some ideas in a couple of pages and send to you.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We had somebody come in just now somewhere. Nicole?
Yes.
We've got I've got somebody that's asked to participate. Unfortunately she's not here today because it's SAT time, and she's a high school kid, but she's going to college in the fall, and she's the national president for SAD. And she was very excited to hear that we have formed a college group. She currently participates occasionally at our CTST for the Pasco because she's in Pasco, goes to Wirehouse High School right now. But she's hoping to gain some knowledge here so that when she goes to school, that in the fall, because she's very passionate about what she does here for SAD, and some of the people here have seen her presentation. She's very talented, very young, smart young lady. So I told her, we have another in-person meeting coming up. I think it's in June or something, Melissa? I don't have it in front of me. July?
July's
Yeah.
the in-person meeting.
And so she would like to come and visit with us on that July meeting before she goes off to school in the fall. But she's hoping that, this is what she's looking for. So she'd like to carry the SAD message to the college level. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that. She's a very, very good individual. She's a very good talker. We just had her on a presentation at a CTST meeting last week, and she blows everybody away as soon as she gives this presentation. And so with that being said, I think we still have Janine. She hasn't brought up anything for MAD, what they're looking for here in the college CTST.
What we're always looking for, and I have worked with Kathleen several times in the past with some outreach that we've done for like Safe Spring Break and things like that. So we're always looking to do things like that, or if you guys have any events, I know I've been at HCC in the past as well. If you have any events or tabling events where you're doing safety, health safety, traffic safety, we kind of cross into both of those worlds with what we do with impaired driving and underage drinking elimination and prevention. So with any of the universities, just let us know how we can support you. If you have professors that you know have classes where they want to address this issue, I can come and speak in those groups, or with students or with staff. I'm open to to speaking and giving information about what we do at Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So that's why I want to be here. I'd love to get more into the university world. We do well in high school, but we'd like to get into university as well. So anything that you can think of, and then when I'm in these meetings, if I hear things that sounds like it would be a good fit, I hope I can reach out to the members here and maybe work with you on certain things. So just keep us in mind always. We are here to support.
Thanks, Janine. We're happy to have you here. Anybody else with any announcements or points of discussion?
Well, if nobody's got anything else real quick, I just want to give you an idea. You know, I'm excited that we've done this, and I continue to hope that this will be a very successful program. Because we, you know, at DOT, we seek to save lives and prevent injuries, particularly among our youth, through education, by empowerment and peer-led outreach programs. Of course, our vision is to ensure that all American youth live long and healthy lives. So currently, you know, CTST initiatives, we include a lot of things. You know, the 4 E's, education, you know, is the biggest part of this. And we look forward to helping college-age drivers learn to balance living on their own with managing life's distractions such as partying, which can lead to driving risk, like impaired driving, or lack of seatbelt use, which has become pandemic again, and of course speeding. So we're hoping, you know, and George and I were in a meeting earlier today, and it was brought up in that meeting. One of the other issues that it's been brought to our attentions here since our last meeting a week ago with another CTST, that our problems, particularly with impaired driving, it's our generations that taught the next generation that it's okay to do. For instance, you come home from work, you've had a bad day, so you go get a beer to unwind and stay away and not bother anybody. Or if you come home with a great thing that happened at work, you got a pay raise, you come home and celebrate. Well, your children are seeing that, and they grow up thinking it's okay to do those kind of things. Well, with the next generation of parents coming through college in the next few years, we're going to see if we can find a way to maybe curve some of that stuff they watched up growing. I mean, when you even watch the cartoons, and this girl Shayna from SAD, she brought to our attention, there's how many cartoons she said the other day, 27 cartoons, you know, from Snow White to, it's drinking all through these cartoons. You know, and our generations are just thinking it's okay to do all these things. So we're hoping that, you know, by being involved at the college kids that is the next immediate age that's going to be coming out raising families, that maybe we can change some of those thinking patterns. So, you know, that's why I'm excited that, you know, the CTST is moving into this direction, moving into that next generation, because we need to, and we're all see it. I mean, if you think about it, You see Budweiser commercials on TV with a kid standing next to a bottle of beer somewhere. It's our generation. Our media's saying it's okay to grow up that way. Unfortunately, as adults, it leads to bad situations, even death. So it's not just the drinking; it's the other carelessnesses that, you watch. What's this TV show that all the kids are watching now with the Dwayne Johnson, the speeding, the speed shows.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious is like 9 or 10 of them now, I think, and they all think that's great, So it's a cultural thing. I know that. But hopefully we can make some changes on somebody. And if we save one life, it's worth all the trouble. Anyway, that's all I want to say. So I'm on my bandwagon about that.
I appreciate that. And that made me think, so we were just doing some outreach on our campus for 420, doing some cannabis education and safety information. And a lot of our students didn't seem to identify the potential risks associated with cannabis and driving. They kind of more understand, the risks about using alcohol, but didn't see necessarily the same level of impairment that they might experience when using cannabis. And we just got our data back from our National College Health Assessment that we survey all of our students every 2 years about a variety of health and wellness behaviors. And on there, of course, is substance use. And this year, interestingly, we had less students report driving after having any alcohol in the past 30 days. So 13.7% of our students reported that. Obviously still higher than we want it to be. And that's only among students who reported both having alcohol and driving within the last 30 days. So that's down from our 2020 number, which was 16.5. But the number of college students who reported driving within 6 hours of using cannabis or marijuana in the last 30 days was 44%. So need to do some more work there. I recognize that and was surprised that was up. It was still high in 2020. It was 42%. But it went up, those couple of percentage points. And also knowing kind of the more pervasiveness of cannabis and marijuana with the Delta 8 being legalized, and that's still the impairments that come with that. Just wanted to share that information and know that, in addition to alcohol, it's also these other substances like marijuana that students don't necessarily see the same level of risk or that perception related to that.
If I can add on, this is Janine again, if I can add on to what you just said, Kathleen. In 2020, MAD did a survey with parents, grandparents, caretakers of youth. And I'm trying to remember the statistic at this moment, but I think it was most of the parents did speak with their youth, their students, their college students about the risks of drinking and driving, but very few talked to them about the risks of marijuana and driving. So it's kind of everything we were all talking about, in that we need to educate them, but we as influencers, adults in young people's lives, need to be educating them as well and having that conversation. It's understood. Still, we see problems, but it's understood not to drink and drive, but we've got to change that perception with marijuana and other impairing substances and driving. So if you have young people in your life, don't just talk about alcohol, talk specifically about marijuana as well, because we're not getting that message across to them.
Any other thoughts or remarks as we get set to kind of wrap this up?
I've said too much.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, I know our next meeting is listed there for the 1st at 3 p.m. We'll be through Teams again, so I know Melissa will be sending out those invitations and follow-up items from today's meeting, the minutes and agenda for next time. So if you have any agenda items that you want added, be sure to send those along. And any questions or things like that, I know they're more than happy to answer and very helpful.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing everybody again.
Thank
Thanks
you all.
all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.